recognize the Minister of Community Social Services.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And today is Community Living Day, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome our guests from Community Living Ontario and many of its local agencies from across the province. We've been joined by Chris Beasley, Chief Executive Officer of Community Living Ontario, Brad Saunders, the CEO of Community Living Toronto, Helena Jaczek, President of Community Living Ontario, James Taylor, Council Chair of Community Living Ontario, Gord Kyle, Director of Policy, and Joanne Demick, the Executive Director of Community Living Parry Sound. I would also like to acknowledge that May is Community Living Month, and in honor of this month, last night the CN Tower was lit up with green and blue to shine a light on community living and their message of inclusion for everyone. For 63 years, community living organizations have been true leaders in advocating for people with developmental disabilities. It started with the families who formed the original community living movement to fight for their children's right to attend public school. The movement soon expanded into one that championed the rights of all individuals with developmental disabilities to be equal participants in their communities. Today, there are more than 12,000 members in more than 100 local community living associations. Family is, and has always been, at the heart of what the movement is about. La famille est, et a toujours été, au cœur du mouvement. I am always humbled by the personal commitment and caring I see when I meet with community living organizations. Je suis toujours impressionnée par l'engagement personnel et la compassion que j'observe lorsque je rencontre des représentants des organisations community living. Inspired by this movement, we are working with community living organizations and other partners to transform the developmental services system into one that is more accessible, fair, and sustainable. Let me also recognize Community Living London, Community Living Brent, and Community Living Algoma, who are leading the way in transitioning away from sheltered workshops towards inclusive, person-centered supports in the community and effective, individualized employment supports, and in sharing their stories with other agencies on the transition journey. Independence, inclusion, and choice are the core principles behind our 3-year, $810 million investment strategy for community and developmental services. My ministry has just completed year 2 of this investment, and together with our partners, we have already made tremendous strides in helping thousands of Ontarians. Approximately 15,200 people and their families are getting new direct funding so they can choose the programs that will help them achieve their goals. We have provided passport funding to approximately 7,200 people since 2014. We have eliminated the special services at home waitlist more than a year ahead of schedule. We have funded new residential supports to more than 800 individuals, more than halfway to our target. Over the next year, along with our partner ministries, we will also develop a provincial employment strategy for people with disabilities. We want to increase employment opportunities for people with disabilities by helping them connect to the labour market and by engaging and supporting employers. Providing increased choice and greater community inclusion is key to our efforts. And we know that tackling the issues facing families and the developmental services sector is not just about more funding. We are working to make our employment support programs more effective to help people get real jobs in their community. Nous nous efforçons de rendre nos programmes de soutien de l'emploi plus efficaces pour aider les gens à trouver des emplois réels dans leur communauté. For people who choose to work, we want them to have real work for real pay. Pour ceux qui choisissent de travailler, nous voulons qu'ils trouvent un vrai emploi réellement rémunéré. I would like to commend the community living movement for their support as we work together on this. Je tiens à remercier le mouvement des organisations community living de leur collaboration à nos efforts communs vers l'atteinte de cet objectif. As we continue to transform the developmental services system, we look to our partners to help make Ontario a more inclusive province. None of this would be possible without the drive and inspiration of the families and caring individuals in the community living movement. Madam Speaker, I invite all the members on both sides of the House to join me in recognizing the vital and important work of the thousands of Ontarians who are proud champions of Community Living Ontario. Thank you so much.